Okay, I want you to close your eyes for a second. Imagine a jungle.
Mm-hmm.
But not the noisy, chaotic jungle you see in documentaries. Imagine a jungle that is completely, unnervingly restless.
Okay.
Picture these ancient trees, the kind with roots that look like they're gripping the earth for dear life. The air is heavy, and there's this unseen ripple moving through it.
It's the atmosphere of a storm coming, isn't it? But not a weather storm.
Exactly. It's like a sensory shift. Birds are shifting on their branches. A jaguar freezes mid-step, paw just hovering.
Its biological internet is buzzing.
That is the perfect way to put it. The biological internet. And that tension is exactly where we are dropping in today.
Right.
We are doing a deep dive into The Awakening by Mahendra Shah.
So chapter 2 is essentially about them deciding they are done being resources.
They're becoming agents.
Correct.
Okay, let's get into the scene. We leave the human conference rooms and drop straight into the jungle. Paint the picture for us.
We're at the foot of an ancient tree in the Amazon. The text describes its roots as running deeper than memory.
Wow.
The sun is rising, but the mood is tense, and we're introduced to two characters who, under normal circumstances, would never be having a conversation.
We have a cat and a mouse.
Okar, the cat, and a nameless mouse.
Now, Biology 101 tells me this ends with a snack.
It should. That's the biological imperative. Predator and prey. But in this scene, Okar is sitting up on a low branch, just grooming himself, completely indifferent to the world around him. He represents cynicism. He's the guy who says, "I've seen it all, nothing matters."
And the mouse.
The mouse is down on the damp earth, looking up. And he isn't running, he's waiting. He represents urgency, he's the organizer.
The dialogue here is what really hooked me. The mouse looks up at a predator and says, "You're late."
It's such a power move, it completely disrupts the natural order.
And what does Okar do?
He just flicks an ear, he's dismissive, he asks, "For what?" And the mouse drops the bomb, the summit.
And Okar's reaction is just pure exhaustion. He swipes a paw over his face. He assumes it's another human meeting, doesn't he?
He does. He says, "Another human meeting." You can practically hear the eye roll in his voice.
Right.
The cat assumes it's another Rio, another Kyoto, another Paris Agreement. He thinks it's just the wise ones talking in circles while the forest burns.
Which, to be fair to the cat, is a pattern recognition thing. He's seen the humans meet before, and nothing changed.
Exactly. Okar is suffering from what we might call compassion fatigue or just burnout. He believes destruction is the new normal.
He's saying, why bother? They build, they ruin, it goes in circles.
But then the mouse corrects him.
Not theirs. Ours.
That phrase, not theirs. Ours is the hinge of the entire story.
Why do you think the author chose a cat and a mouse for this? Why not like two wolves? Or a monkey and a parrot?
It signals the suspension of natural law. The text explicitly mentions the breaking of nature's laws.
Ah.
If a mouse is willing to risk being eaten to deliver a message, and if a cat is willing to skip a meal to listen, it tells the reader that the threat is existential.
It's so big it overrides millions of years of instinct. It's an emergency alert system.
Right. When the house is on fire, the dog and the cat run out the same door together.
I want to dig into Okar's attitude a bit more because, honestly, I relate to him.
Oh, for sure.
When he talks about the cycle of humans build, humans ruin, it feels very 2026. It feels like doom scrolling.
It is doom scrolling, Jungle Edition. The cat is the witness. He's resigned to the end. But the mouse refuses to accept that resignation.
What does he say?
The mouse rebuts him with, "It wasn't always like this." And this introduces one of the most important philosophical flips in the book, the definition of the law of the jungle.
Okay, let's unpack that, because when I hear law of the jungle, I think of Wall Street. I think of eat or be eaten. Brutal competition.
That's the modern human interpretation. We use law of the jungle to justify our own ruthlessness.
We say, hey, it's a dog-eat-dog world. Excuse greed.
Exactly. But what the mouse argues is that the real law of the jungle was never about chaos or greed. It was about balance.
Balance.
The law was take what you need, leave enough for the rest, maintain the equilibrium.
So the mouse is effectively saying that the humans are the ones who are lawless.
Precisely. The wise ones are the lawbreakers. They are the disruptors. They take faster than nature can replenish. They take without leaving anything behind.
That is a really humbling perspective.
Yeah.
We think we brought order to the chaos of nature building cities, roads, grids.
But the book argues we actually brought chaos to the order of nature.
And the mouse doesn't just use philosophy to prove this. He brings receipts, right? He lists the evidence of this chaos.
He does. He points to the water first. He says rivers that never dried up are now turning into nothing.
Wow.
Or worse, the ones that are flowing are sluggish and poisoned.
And looking at the notes, this isn't just a metaphor for bad vibes. This is based on real data.
But the mouse feels it, the animals feel it, it's entering the food chain. We are eating the fish that eat the plastic.
And the mouse also mentions herds disappearing.
Right. Whole herds vanishing without explanation. That tracks with the biodiversity loss data. The text highlights that in 2023 alone, over 4 million hectares of tropical forest were lost.
That's the Amazon and Congo basins, the lungs of the earth.
Just being shaved away. So when the mouse says the wild is no longer far away, it is being encroached upon, he's citing hard facts. There's nowhere left to hide. The text says Whiskers, referencing his animal nature, turns toward the waking city, and standing between them is that ancient tree.
It's described as standing silent between two worlds, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
The world of nature and the world of humans. A threshold moment.
That's it.
So, this conversation between the cat and the mouse, this is the catalyst. This is what leads to the summit.
Yes. Chapter 2 explains the how. A lot of times in stories or even in real social movements, we focus on the big rallies. We see the thousands of people marching.
But we rarely see the quiet, dangerous conversation that started it.
And this chapter argues that the revolution didn't start with a roar. It started with a whisper between a predator and a prey who decided to collaborate.
It's a grassroots movement.
Literally grassroots. It starts with the termites and the mice convincing the larger, more cynical animals that it's time to move. Okar represents that feeling we all have sometimes, that the problems are too big, the systems are too broken.
Why bother recycling when corporations are dumping sludge mentality?
Exactly. But the mouse represents the counter-argument. We have to try. We have to organize. And the mouse wins the argument. Cynicism is comfortable, but it's fatal. Action is risky, especially for a mouse talking to a cat. But it's the only path to survival.
It leaves me with this really provocative thought. We spent the first half of this deep dive talking about how the book redefines the law of the jungle. And if the animals in this story are capable of putting aside millions of years of instinct predator versus prey to save the planet, what does that say about us?
It asks the question, who is actually civilized? In the book, the animals create a covenant of harmony. Meanwhile, the wise ones are still arguing over borders and quarterly profits while the ice shelves melt.
If a cat and a mouse can find common ground, what is stopping us?
That is the ultimate question. The animals are waiting for us to show up to the meeting, to the real summit.
A huge thank you to Mahendra Shah's The Awakening for giving us so much to think about. This has been The Deep Dive.
Thanks for listening.
See you next time.